Hello everyone. Let's see if I can get this working correctly. It's been a while since I was streaming, so let's see if I can get everything set up. The other issue I'm having right now is that I'm actually slightly having the not the flu, but having a cold. So let's see how my voice can handle this. But you probably heard it from my previous video as well. So let me know in the chat here if you can hear me well or not. I'm actually slightly having the not the flu, but having a cold. And while you do that, I'm going to quickly get my scenes correctly set up here. Previous video as well. So let me know in the chat here if you can hear me well or not. I'm actually slightly having the not the flu, but having a cold. And while okay, that's awesome. Read me 5x5, loud and clear. Oh, that's great. It's clear that I'm speaking to a set of virtual astronauts in this chat here today. So yeah, you all saw this small little video that I made. I started making it yesterday, if I recall correctly. I'm slightly fuzzy at the moment, taking some painkillers and getting through with the day. But yeah, it was yesterday. I completed it today and made the upload. So let's. Okay, we have some echo. Yesterday, if I recall correctly, I'm slightly. Okay, now is the echo off or on? Let me know. Tell me off if it's off or on if it's on. My video is lagging slightly behind, so. Okay, and then let me just verify the other settings too. Okay, is this better now? Yeah, perfect. That's great to hear. Off. All right. Great. Thank you. Comms check complete. Yeah, so you all saw that I've kind of announced the launch window of Reentry 1.0, and I gave you a rather large background story of my entire journey with you guys on this project, and I'm quite excited to be here, but also very frightened in a way. I've been doing this for 10 years, and my brain isn't working. Did I do the math right? Is it 7 years since the Steam release, or is it 6? Remind me to not do this when you have a cold. But yeah, we did talk a little bit about the background of the game and what you can expect from version 1.0. And I've been showing you some of these features many times before, and or maybe not many times, but at least sometimes. The space shuttle has been in development since 2019, exactly the same amount of time since my daughters were born. So that's an easy one to remember. So that's 2019. And Vostok was also part of. I saw Victor was in the chat here. Some of you were part of the game when I rolled out one of the biggest updates, the most brutal things that I've done in Reentry was to upgrade the true scale system, or the TSS. And part of writing the TSS system, I had to add a new rocket to the game because I had to figure out, how should I approach this. So then I made Vostok part of the game, and Vostok became a test candidate for TSS. And once TSS was done, this true scale system, I rolled it out one program by one, started with Mercury, Gemini, and then Apollo. And I think this entire update took like 3 or 4 months alone. So that's the true scale system, TSS. But yeah, let me know if you are having any questions. I'm reading the chat here at the same time. So Midnight Blue, you're saying that I haven't been following too closely, lol. The Shuttle and the Vostok are coming in 1.0. So the parts that are going to be in Reentry 1.0 is not Shuttle or the Vostok. It's Mercury, Gemini, and then the Apollo craft of the command module and the lunar module. And the entire goal of 1.0 is to achieve orbit in Mercury and perform rendezvous and docking with the G9 Gemini and land on the moon in Project Apollo. Everything else is kind of outside of the scope of 1.0. But once I'm done with 1.0, I'm planning to move forward. And let me see if I can switch into the game view here. Full screen, if it works. And there we go. Okay, and then see if this works. Yeah, I think that you can see the small little roadmap that I've been working on, and this isn't a new feature, but it's something that I want to now go and add things into. So you're going to see more blocks here, and I see there's talk about the historical missions on the chat here, and the things that are part of the 1.0 release is everything that you can see kind of on the left side here. So you see that I have the core game mechanics, these are the planners, and I have the Unity game engine here, and this block is all about upgrading the engine. And then I have the core systems, and as mentioned, the core systems here is all of the systems needed to achieve orbit here, rendezvous and docking in Gemini, and then reach the moon in the command module and land on it in the lunar module. That's the core system, so the minimum amount of things needed to achieve that. I know that I've been doing quite a lot of scope creeping. There's a lot more systems, and some of them are even deeper than planned, just because I have this amazing community around me that kind of keeps pushing me and you know, giving me some really good feedback on things that I should add, and also how things should work. So that's really good. But that's also, of course, something that will be picked up on some of these later blocks here. You know, when I remove the core from the various space programs here, is when I'll see the more generic systems added. In the lunar module, just as an example, you have the scope that's completely missing, and so on. And then the other things that are part of the 1.0 package is Academy, and the Academy currently has over 50 lessons that will try to teach you the basics of each craft, and then the 4 different campaigns that comes with the game, which is also probably something around 30 missions or so. But then I have the historic missions, and I'm going to add a couple of these historic missions, but currently in the game, you have some of them part of kind of the core game, which is Mercury Atlas 6, Mercury Redstone 3 and 4, and then you have Gemini Titan 3, that's the Gemini mission, and then Apollo 13. And the question here is that, what about Apollo 11? And definitely Apollo 11 is something that I want in the game, and I'm thinking that either Apollo 8 or Apollo 11 will be the first historic missions on the Apollo program that will be added sometimes after the release. Let me just quickly go through the questions here. I'm of course an expert in talking about reentry, so Yeah, so Apollo 11 will probably be first, or Apollo 8, and then I have a big desire to do Apollo 16 or 17. We don't know which one I want to add first. But the other thing that I haven't mentioned too much yet is something called the flight plan mode. So I'm going to show you a little bit what that means pretty soon. But let me just get through some of these questions first. So basically, the other things around here are uh, post 1.0 features. They're not correctly scattered around, and more things will be added. But this is kind of the preliminary plan and my way of communicating to you kind of what I want to achieve. So the space shuttle has been harder to code compared to the let me just switch back to the web camera. The space shuttle has been harder to develop compared to Apollo in one way, and that way is sheer amount of systems. It's been brutal even to get the my medium fidelity level implementation done. You have FG Shuttle and you have NASP as typical references for both the Apollo side of Reentry and the Space Shuttle side once I get that out. And those will kind of be more on the higher fidelity side, and NASP is extremely detailed. Reentry tries to kind of aim for the middle tier simulation. It's a game, an immersive game that kind of tries to let you experience space flight and kind of how the craft evolved from one to the next. So it's taking a lot of different spacecraft and puts them into a game compared to, for example, focusing on a specific program. And let's see here. Yeah, Apollo 17. Yeah, I talked slightly about that. Uh, yes, CN also mentioned Apollo 11 is already in the game. Yeah, that's kind of correct. The campaign 4 is based on Apollo 11, and campaign 3 is based on Apollo 8. So it's going to be more on the historic mission sides that I'm now talking about. So we have Apollo 13 as the only historic mission. Now I'm talking about those missions where you'll experience the real comms and the real events that happened on the mission, and I'm trying to kind of recreate that entire event so you can experience it on a PC. That's kind of the main missions when it comes to historic missions, I mean. Modding framework, so the community, yeah, it's if I knew how, I would have loved to have a modding capabilities. I've been trying to research a little bit into modding and letting you model 3D models and add-ons for the game, but I don't know exactly how to do it. I've been trying to research a little bit on how KSP has done it, and they have a rather sophisticated model in terms of modding. So let's see what happens. It's not going to be part of 1.0 at least, because now I'm wrapping things up in terms of that. But 1.0 is, as mentioned, the the beginning of the journey to 2.0, obviously. So I have no plans on hitting Alt F4 on Unity and the project once 1.0 is released. Why it's quite the opposite. It's a strong foundation to improve the programs that I've already implemented. And thanks everyone for your feedback and your love for the project. It's really appreciated. I'm getting very happy from reading some of these comments here. So let's parse through. Fifth campaign. I'm planning at least to create a campaign for the space shuttle, and probably also for any other DLC if I add that. So the plan is that if I create the space shuttle DLC, um, and I kind of get past that initial development block of it, which unfortunately won't get any attention until the 1.0 release. But the plan is that any add-ons will have a campaign and a set of academy missions that you can follow through and learn the craft with, along with a flight manual that I'm also planning on adding. So a campaign and an academy, that's the kind of minimum that I'm planning for each of the add-on modules later. And who knows, it might be Artemis at one point. Artemis could even become a separate title. I don't know because I haven't planned that far. Will you ever have a lunar rover? Yeah, I have a basic lunar rover in the game. You can flip all the buttons up to turn on electricity on the electric drive for each of the four wheels, and you can decide which wheels will do the turning, if it's the front wheels, rear wheels, or both. So there's a basic version of the lunar rover. I don't know how deep I'm going to go on the rover. Probably slightly deeper if I ever get that far. But right now, 1.0 is the priority, and then after that, between 1.0 and 1.1, I'm planning on having this dead zone kind of. Where is the camera here? Where I'm going to only focus on bug fixes. So from 1.0 to 1.1, that's mainly going to be like bug fixes and be reactive on the community, your feedback, and implement things. Yes, Apollo 12 launch would be neat to see in Reentry. Yeah. Um, if I'm so Peter, you're saying that some web pages, game analytics, play tracker estimate that the game has been sold about 20 to 30,000 copies, and if I'm happy with that and my general response. So for a solo project and a niche project like this, I'm never going to hit those mainstream markets that some games are able to reach. And my intent is to also kind of be, I don't know, the smaller space flight game. If something happens, of course, I'm going to be happy, but I'm also happy with the sales so far and the feedback. But I'm most happy maybe with how involved you folks are and the community and kind of how we've been able to set up this dynamic of working on this project in a way together with the community. I'm trying to listen to your feedback, read your conversation every single day to figure out, what are the good next steps for me to do. I obviously have my own plan and my own path, but if I have to deviate on that because someone says something that makes sense, I typically make a decision if I should kind of follow that deviation or not. Um, so after the release, my main priority will be initially I'm going to continue working on the systems and improving systems at the same time as I'm planning to release a technical preview of the space shuttle. So I kind of want to do the same thing that I've done with Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo program with you folks, and that is to include those who are interested in the space shuttle as a in a technical preview stage where if you get the space shuttle, you can join in on how it kind of evolves. So it's the technical preview, and then it will enter and that's the same time that it will have its main development stage, and then after that, it's going to be released in kind of as a full package. Uh, Another priority worth mentioned is graphics and models and sound design and languages. Those are important things, and I've saw some comments on it earlier today. But it's uh, something that I wish to focus quite a lot on is sound design after the 1.0, and I've started working on a new system that allows me to hook 2D and 3D sound effects to various systems on board, which allows me to better work with sound effects, much easier work with sound effects. So now I can add the pump noises. I can add inverter fans. I can add, suit fans and cabin fan sound effects, and get kind of this dynamic uh, feel from the soundscape of the cockpit. So when you're doing the cold and dark checklists, you might, hear the cockpit coming slowly to life. The state of multi-crew is I've actually done a little bit of development with multi-crew. Multi-crew is in it's in the research and development department, which means that I'm trying to figure out if it's at all possible to create multi-crew in Gemini. And the reason why I chose Gemini is that it doesn't have a mission control module. And the reason for that is because I wanted to save Gemini as a pure title to develop multi-crew on, so no other networking logic that interferes. And then once I've figured that out, and if I can figure out that I can support multi-crew or not, then I can eventually try to see if I can get three people on board in Apollo. But Apollo also requires me to maybe support a mission control module as well. So there's a big mix of dynamics that needs to kind of fit together to make co-op work in Apollo. But the first step is Gemini, and that's going to be the main focus. So there's a question if I had any game dev experience before creating Reentry. Yeah, I've been a graphics programmer since I was quite young. I learned OpenGL and DirectX back in high school, and I competed in various competitions. I did a lot of graphics programming in the demo scene. For those who know what the demo scene is, it's basically creating these real-time demonstrations that runs on the GPU, on the CPU, on your computer. Is like a game, but you don't interact with it. And it's about eye candy and poetry and putting things together. So after that, I was doing some blogging on DirectX, and I was awarded Microsoft MVP within DirectX, and that also led me to get a work job over at Microsoft, where I focused part of my role in the game industry and the rendering industry. But all in all, the game industry versus graphics programming, the graphics programming has always been kind of my main driver in terms of landing on creating Reentry, a simulator. Um, let's see. Yeah, Space Shuttle sure is a very complex machine. I have the the I don't know what to call it. It's brutal to have the space shuttle development in front of you. I made some good progress on it. I already shared it with the test pilots, so the test pilots have been had access to the space shuttle bits, and they've been doing quite a lot of ascents, and they've been doing things that I've even locked. So, for example, docking with the ISS, that's something that I've yet to support. I started writing the logic, but I just made ISS unreachable. But they figured it out and reached ISS and was able to actually dock with it. So the space shuttle, I think, is doing a good job on its progress. I have a good foundation to start working on the space shuttle now in now that I reached the 1.0 milestone. Yeah, the first E in the Reentry logo, it's a funny story, a logo design, a watermark, or call it whatever you want. Re-entry, especially with the two E's and a dash in between them, they got too long to be accepted into the store because it was too wide, so you couldn't see it properly on the icon. Um, and that was on the Windows Store. And I decided that, okay, I need to figure out a way to shorten it down. And then I just kind of merged the E's, two E's and the dash in between together and just made a symbol out of it. So that's nothing fancy. That's the reason why the E is like it is. And the game is called Reentry, stands for re-entry on the logo. And now, it's stuck. It's always hard to make a logo change eventually, or I mean, after a good while. That's amazing, Thomas Ellis. That your father-in-law had worked on the lunar rover. That's great to hear. I love hearing stories like this from the re-entry community. People have actually been part of it. I'm in cold Norway and now in Finland, so far away from NASA and the space exploration program back then. But I do have a family member who was part of mission control in the Apollo program called Alfred Lunde, or a family friend, and he was working on the logic and the computer program to render how stars and planets were aligned compared to the direction of the spacecraft at any point in a mission. He has some PDFs and official NASA papers as part of the documentation from the Apollo program that comes from Alfred Lunde. If I'm planning to have a native Linux build for the game, I don't know enough about Linux to be able to build Reentry. I've tried to build it for Mac. There's shader issues and there's all kind of weird issues, and I'm trying to figure out, okay, what's wrong, but then I have no clue on in which direction to step. So eventually, I hope that I could get there, but I don't know at this point. It's a Windows title only. Um, have you thought about incorporating more developers into the project? Yeah, I have, but the project needs to sell a bit more in order to have the budget needed to hire something at least full time. And then there's also this, who to write the code. You the developer will need to match, and then there's quite a lot of dynamics involved in a spaceflight simulator, especially one like Reentry. So it's something that I want to have, but at the moment it's kind of out of reach. Then in addition, with regards to at least previously with my daytime job, there's a contract that kind of made sure that this is okay as a hobby project. So let's continue. There's some funny comments scattered around here. And then there's physical diskies. Let me just show you mine. Here we go. So just slide in my phone and hook it up with the Reentry, and it works as a device. And I actually use this a lot when I'm playing Reentry. Uh, have you read the Case for Mars book? I've not. I'll take a note and I'll check it out. So, Finnbud, can you maybe talk a bit about sound development? Yeah, so please help me if you have suggestions with sound design. I'm not a great expert on that, but I did talk a little bit about the sound design earlier in this Ask Me Anything session. I now have a pretty good system, I think, that allows me to inject sound effects into the cockpit. And I was working on this today, actually, and I got some comments on the post about this on Steam, where I made a reply with a link to a new thread I added on Discord where we can discuss sound design. So currently in Reentry, the sound design is kind of at the medium level. It's not something that I'm really skilled at. So you always have to balance, what am I good at and what I'm not good at. And then if you're not good at something, then you'll need to figure it out and just make something work. And then you have something to build upon. So I made something that worked and I improved it quite a lot. If you compare the game from kind of version 0.2 and 4 and so on, all the way up until today. Let's continue. So, how did you get the passion idea that led to making Reentry? Yeah, that's. Let me try to answer it briefly. Uh, it's easy to get carried away, but maybe to say it short, I played a lot of DCS and PMDG, and back then we didn't have too many options for spaceflight. And at one point I thought, okay, well, I really want to have this PMDG experience, this DCS experience, but in a space ship. And I tried to search for the title, and I just didn't find exactly the thing that my brain wanted to play. So I kind of did the I don't know, I don't want to call it a mistake because 10 years later I spent 10 years on trying to make that vision I had to be able to sit inside of a 3D cockpit and see kind of the panel layout and how the cockpit was organized, and kind of get a full good feel of how it was to sit inside of these historical spacecraft. Right, let me get through. Yeah, that's great to hear, Jim, Finn, and thanks for your feedback. And Space Shuttle Missions 2007 was a lot of fun. I did play it, but that was also one of those things that actually I bought it in a boxed copy. I think it was in 2007 in a local game store, and I printed the manuals and everything. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoy that little game back then. It's not little, of course. It's a good game. All right. Next question is, what was the thinking behind the name Lyra Creative? Um, so one, I was this was when me and my wife lived in Seattle, and I started developing Reentry, and I had to figure out a name for kind of the orbital mechanics or the astrodynamics engine that I used back then. And I remember I was up on a tent trip in the nature of some mountain view highway, it was called. And we were looking up at the stars, and I was thinking about Reentry and this project that was kind of starting to grow in my head. And it just became Lyra. It's a constellation. It made sense. I liked the name as well. So then the name didn't become the studio name back then. It became the engine name. And then the studio name just became my surname. So Wilhelmsen with a W and an H in there. And it was just a very hard name for everyone to write or remember. So I wanted something shorter, and I discussed this quite a lot with my wife, and she came up with the idea of maybe just having Lyra. Is the name of the engine. It has history with the project too, so that's why it became Lyra Creative. And give me a second. My mouse ran out of batteries, so I'll just need to connect the cable. There we go. Everything is good. Yeah, Reentry was always kind of a hobby project. I did it evenings and nights, and whenever I had the extra time to work on a hobby. But the the good and bad thing about hobbies is that you do it because it's fun. You have passion for it, so it's very easy to find the time to or the motivation, maybe the energy, the extra energy it takes to boot up your computer after work or in an evening and start working. So so I got my disc key. It was from the Reentry community. There's a community effort that has made it, and you can buy it as well in a store. And I think that um, there is a link. There's a YouTube video which is called Community Tools on my channel, and it has all the information about it. I'm showing it on the video, and you can see kind of how it works in the game as well. 2 GB of RAM is not enough to run the game. Definitely not. Will the whole solar system be simulated eventually? Do you envision to be able to reach Mars one day? So I'm trying to follow the history of human spaceflight. So those spacecraft that has been operated by astronauts on board the craft in space. So uh, currently the scope has been low Earth orbit, and then the moon in the Apollo program. So the moon is currently the furthest that you can get um, uh, in game right now. But if I would ever make Artemis, for example, and if we would figure out, a good way to get to Mars, then and I'm still working on this project, then maybe I would get Mars. I do have a special build of Reentry, which has been more on the commercial or more on the enterprise side, with a couple of projects that I've been working on the side, which has the Mars rendered instead of Earth, and there's some simplified spacecraft uh, to operate around Mars. So I don't plan to model the entire solar system because you won't be able to travel there. But my plan is that I want to have the whole solar system once I get a little bit more clever in terms of how I'm aligning the universe, the universe alignment logic in the game. I need to figure that out properly first. But once I have that, I could probably try and add the solar system, so you would be able to use the planets as navigation tools in Apollo and in the scope. Uh, yeah, the flight plan mode got mentioned, and let me just quickly switch. Let's see if I can do it. Let me share my screen here, and let me know. Let me just set up. So let me just load that up for you so you can see that in action. Uh, Give me a moment. I'll get up Unity here, and then missions. and play. And then I'll switch over. Once Unity now loads the project, it takes a few seconds. Then I can switch over to that view. And while it loads, I can see, yeah, the reason I'm a turtle, my clothes, if that's what you're referring to, is because I'm having a cold. So I needed to put on wool and stay really warm. If not, I'm going to start coughing a lot, and then I'll have to end the stream, especially when you're talking. So that's the reason. Will there be any significant additions to the Moker, such as Saturn 1B launch channel? Yeah, I'm planning on adding a Saturn 1B launch channel. I want the mission control room to be able to support the Apollo things that you can do, and monitoring the Saturn 5 engine in a Saturn 1B mission just doesn't make sense. So I'll need to add that channel to the monitors that you can tune into. And in addition, I want to have a slightly better mission planning tool, pad tools that allows you to get the pad down on Earth, and then you can read up the pads to the crew so they can take note of it, or maybe just use the autofill if I can just send it up on a networking package or something like that. Fellow dev here, blown away by work. I hope you're proud of it. Yeah, I sure am. I am really proud of the project so far, and I hope that, of course, I can continue to improve the project and make it into the game that I want it to be. But at least now we're one step closer to 1.0, and that means that after 1.0, I can start to continue to kind of add a little bit more features again, and instead of being in this bug fixing mode that I've been in for, I don't know, the last year or so. Okay, let me quickly share my screen here. Now everything has loaded, so then I'll need to enable the button that lets me open up the flight plan mode. There we go, and then I'll share my screen. So let me go into full screen and webcam, and I can try to kind of make this a little bit bigger. You'll get a little frame around the viewport here. I'm just scaling it up because of my screen resolution. So in the chat, when you see Project Apollo and the free play thing, please let me know. Artemis program, I'm excited. I'm very excited about it. I've been seeing some really interesting talks on Discord about it, and I've been trying to follow the new news press conference that happened last week, and I've seen one of the test pilots who is a mission controller and Capcom in training in the Orion Sim, if I understood correctly, who has some amazing knowledge about it. So I'm really excited about it. Let's see here. Will failures get updates, especially for Gemini, the LM, and launch vehicle failures for all spacecraft? Yes. So right now, the main focus has been, make it possible to land on the moon. And post 1.0, the scope will start to extend to kind of additional systems. So once I feel that my systems gets better and better and more stable, I will be able to add in more failures into them. And I do have a failure system in the game right now, and you can trigger some failures. And one program have more than the other, but at least it's a system, and I can extend that system with additional components of each spacecraft. Yeah, I agree. I can't wait for the STS to come out myself. It's still a lot of work left on it, but at least it's making good progress. So I can load up into the STS soon. But the plan here is that I want to have something called the flight plan mode. So if I go into the flight plan mode, I've already kind of go ahead and set a dedicated mission for Apollo 8, Apollo 11, and Apollo 16. And these missions here, let's go into, for example, Apollo 8 or 11, I mean, then you can see this is a 2.0 feature. It means that it will make it into the title eventually. And then it says what the flight plan mode is. It kind of goes a little bit through the flight plan and some of the main events. And then you'll ingress into the cockpit. And in this mode, you will not have mission comms outside of, key events of the flight plan. So the goal is that you'll start on the pad at the correct time and date, and you'll be able to follow a similar trajectory to the real craft and the real flight plan that actually happened in real life. And getting there is, of course, outside of the 1.0 scope, because to be able to do that, my game has to up its fidelity level slightly, especially in terms of trajectory control and all of those things. So, but the little things that I've already done here is it's a big step for me personally, at least. I'm able to reach the moon on pretty good precision in terms of timestamps and relative to the real steps of the flight plan. It is not possible to play a dev version. I think that dev version here is in my editor, and I'm trying to roll out patches and updates frequently. So a lot of new features gets added directly to the release branch. And then I'm also using the alpha floor, for example, the version that I'm running right now, with exception of this flight plan mode, of course, is version 99.88, which has not yet been released, but it's available on the alpha floor, and it contains bug fixes to some of the communications that I've been having yesterday and today. Yeah, thank you, Congressional 1.0, and thank you for making this excellent game. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. It's been a long journey, and it's going to continue to be a long journey, but now I will be able to hit that 1.0 milestone and kind of shift the I don't know, the face of the game a little bit. Have you considered more simplistic, semi-automated guided missions to reach a wider, less technical audience? Yeah, I did. I actually the first version, and in the video I showed you kind of this white screen, and let me check if I can quickly load into that, because back then the game had an arcade mode, so it had like a pro mode, and in the arcade mode you could get into let me just load this up. In arcade mode, you would only have be in external view, so you could only see outside. You would fly it basically like a KSP rocket. You hit space to stage, and you would need to control everything manually in a way. And then you had pro mode that allowed you to to play the game like it's doing right now. So I took away the arcade mode completely. It took away too much time and development time from me, and I removed it. So I think that that also applies a little bit for a simpler mode. But the other side that you're saying is that, I could always have a simplified mode enabled somehow in the current cockpits, but that would require me to be much better at predicting and knowing what the player wants to do. But there could be automated execution of checklists in sequence. There could be uh, injection of auto maneuvering and direction setting and stuff like that. That's something that would be fully doable. Uh, do you plan on implementing realistic comms for Moker? Um, I don't know if I'm going to have it more realistic than currently. Right now, I want to improve the microphone setup logic and how those things works. But when it comes to the comms themselves, right now, you have the possibility to tune in on a specific com channel and talk there, and players can branch off in dedicated rooms to discuss matters and issues. And you have a direct link to Flight and Capcom and all the relative stations for each console. So I think that at least initially that's going to be kind of the main level I'm targeting for Mocha right now. Uh, oh yeah, proper antenna configuration and so on. Yeah, that's something that I've always wanted to do in Reentry. The reason why it didn't get any attention, and now I'm talking about the communication systems, the comms, to get more realistic comms, so you can properly set up the antennas and talk with ground. You need to have radio contact and stuff like that. That's definitely on the plan on towards 2.0. Definitely, that's going to be one of the fun things, I think, in Moker. Oh yeah, just reading some comments. Is Folgers? Oh, there I see Folgers. Hello, Folgers. Nice to have you here. Uh, he is a NASP developer, and you can find NASP developers on my Discord server as well. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit tired, so my brain is slow. I have a cold for those who are joining in, but yeah, we have a NASP channel dedicated on my server now, which allows you to get an introduction on playing NASP. If you want to go really deep, like realistic, as realistic as it gets on a computer these days, you can play something called NASP. And a big shout out to the NASP team. I've been playing NASP when I was a kid, in a way, and uh, it's great to have you folks over on my Discord helping me out and giving me good pointers on what to focus on and fix. And thanks. Right, thank you, the toast. The space flight simulator on Amiga, that's amazing. So let me just scroll down here. Will crew health elements like blood pressure get more depth? Yeah, I don't know if blood pressure will get more depth. At one point, I had this device that could measure my blood pressure, and I could just send the data to the surgeon's screen in Mission Control, and he could draw it as this graph. And that was fun, but it was just something I did by myself. But other than that, I don't think so. One of the role-playing elements that I have been considering is sleep and drinking water and eating food. If anyone has been playing, for example, my summer car, for example, you have this health stats. Maybe the crew could have that on board if I would introduce a role-playing mode or something like that to the crew. It could be fun, but not yet planned at all. I'm just babbling. All right. So, um, I think that I was able to catch up with the chat here. So let me switch back to the web camera mode. So anything else, anything you're curious about, please let me know. If not, I'll start to wrap this up pretty soon. One thing I could quickly mention is let me prepare Unity here slightly and go to main menu and I'll share my screen pretty soon. I'm just talking to myself here. By the way, there was one comment that I remembered, and that was someone asked a specific date because I'm talking about the launch window, the November launch window, and I think that the current launch window is probably around November 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere there. It's harder than expected to calculate this ignition time, to put it this way, of 1.0, but somewhere around early to mid November is going to be the launch if everything goes according to plan. Who knows? Is this launch window stream before the official release of the game? So this launch window stream is just to kind of shift, make a mental shift from going from features and updates and content to in-game. Sorry. So this is all about shifting the focus from going from those in-game content, feature updates and so on to more into release mode where I'm trying to fix and polish some of the things that I can. And I'll try to polish as much as I can before the 1.0 release. But that being said, just please remember that I've done my best. I pushed it as far as I can for this 1.0 release, which means that I'm going to have a strong foundation to move towards 2.0. So 1.0 is basically the removal of an early access flag, and that's it. We'll keep pushing towards 2.0. It's the start of the journey to 2.0. So and then let me see. Are you shifting world? Yes, I am shifting world origin. I've It's a big world. Even getting into low Earth orbit wouldn't work, and that was part of something called the True Scale System, or the TSS. I did origin shifting before that, but it didn't work very well. So then I changed the logic and implemented a system called the TSS. And then I spent a few months on updating the entire game. But this was all about origin shifting. But Unity is still a floating point precision engine, so you'll get the Kraken. You'll need to fight floating point precision, even if you're working on with origin shifting. There's still a lot of things to consider. Thanks everyone for your positive feedback here as well, constructive. It's giving me a lot of motivation. It's great to have you here with me today. I'm curious as how well it's going commercially. So this is a niche title. I touched upon it a little bit earlier, and it's always going to be a niche title. So it's not going to go extremely great commercially. I hope that one day I might break even. Right now I'm spending my own time, and I'm uh, I don't have kind of the extra, say budget to hire new developers or make a bigger team out of this. But other than that, I'm very happy with the way things are going. The game industry is brutal, and there's a lot of games to compete against and work against. So um, I'm very happy with how things has been going with Reentry so far. I'm very really happy with that. So have you considered a mode that lets AI handle this step to show less experienced players how to do something? Um, I haven't. I have not. No. Um, I have not had great experience with AI in terms of it telling me how spaceflight works, and I've been testing some things just for fun, and it imagines a lot of things that doesn't exist. But with the right training and the right model and the LLM or all those things, if you can tune that, then that would become maybe a good crew member to your craft. But that's going to be a while away before I'm able to, do the correct research there. But I think that is all about having an agent, give it enough training about the craft that matters, and the the agent needs to know about, my simplifications of the game. So you can't just feed the manuals to it. You need to, feed re-entry in a way. I found this game on the top 5 Steam space games video. Well, that's interesting. Is that a recent one or? I do also look forward to November, and I also look forward to version 1.2, where I can kind of start to develop a little bit more on the space shuttle. But until that time, I'm going to be purely focused on improving the bits that I have, the bits that you currently have, and 1.0 release. Yeah, thanks a lot for these comments you guys are giving me. I'm having a cold is it's nice with you guys, so thanks. Yeah. God for recognize how much feature creep could keep sneaking in and holding up a 1.0. That is true, especially in a game like this. I want this game to be immersive. I want it to be fun, and I want the procedures to be as realistic as possible, even if the underlying systems isn't as deep as, for example, NASP. But I would like to, for you to be able to follow and print out the real checklist and use it in the game. That's on the goal of my 2.0 milestone. And I think that's because of all of this scope creeping, we have already made a big step in that direction in Reentry 1.0 already. So there's been a lot of scope creeping, but I think that they were needed for the title. I haven't felt ready for the 1.0 release until rather recently. It's not possible to play multiplayer right now in the same cockpit. you are able to play multiplayer in mission control, where one player hosts the session in the spacecraft, and then you can broadcast this telemetry to mission controllers down on ground. And I've tried to recreate some of the rooms and logic, and I've had some great help from Paolo and his Mocher module to be able to kind of have a museum-like 3D model of the entire mission control room of Apollo. It looks amazing, and I I kind of scope creeped a little bit, and I made a lot of the logic on the projectors and the texture rendering work similar to what they did in real life to kind of reconstruct how those monitors worked. So I'm just reading up here. Let's see. I feel bad about asking. Let's see what this is. Don't feel bad about asking anything today. You can ask me anything. This is an AMA session. So, yeah, do you think eventually we could see which checklists we added to the checklist playlist? Yeah, right now I have had the same issue, and that's why I have started to inject the checklist title right before its steps. So once you queue up a checklist, you will see its title, and you can use that as a marker to see what checklist you're starting on. However, once that header is gone and you don't exactly recall where you are, there's no way of saying that you're currently executing the steps of this checklist. So I think that it wouldn't be too hard to add, but that's one of those things that I can make a note of here today, and we'll see where it goes. Just a quick note to myself here. All right, let's continue with the list. There's a couple of more questions coming up. Um, yes, thank you, Artemis or Madison. It's great to have you with me. It goes both ways. It would be very sad for developers to sit alone without a community and try to communicate his work. So yeah, they currently in Gemini. I've towards 2.0. I wish to improve the platform. I have some specific items about this, and I also saw some of the suggestions by the test pilots here on Discord today about Acme and the platform and the horizon scanners and the platform modes of Reentry, no, of Gemini. So that's something that I really want to get fixed and improved. Right now, I'm trying to just make it work. So that's the scope. Let's get it into orbit and let's perform a rendezvous and a docking with the Gina. But eventually, I hope to improve this. My wife's favorite spacecraft. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. Probably the command module. She's been writing a lot of the checklists and helping me with those things. So I don't know if it makes it her favorite or least favorite because the checklist of the command module can be quite brutal. But I'll ask her. I'll ask her after this session. Checklist ordering. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. Yeah, collision. So imagine the Unity game engine and the rigid bodies flying in space, and their velocities are, extremely extremely high. You're running 25,500 feet per second, and everything is relative, but there's a lot of calculations under the hood that goes on, and then you have Lyra and the gravity engine trying to kind of position things, and then you have the Unity rigid body system that tries to calculate some basic physics. I don't use the Unity rigid bodies that much, but I do use it for various things, and attitude, and thrusters and so on. It's good enough. It does the job good enough for reentry, but this can collapse quite fast in high velocities, and this complex setup that reentry has. Thank you, thank you, everyone. So yeah, anything else? Any more questions or comments? I think that I was able to parse through most of it now. Yeah, I try to make sure that the real manuals. So let me try to rephrase this. Reentry is all about, trying to get into phase of using realistic procedures. All the checklists that you have access to the in-game, it's not something that I just imagine. Some steps have been added, some things has been changed, and checklists that I have yet to find. I've tried to create that checklist myself based on, what I think it could have been. But a lot of the checklists are one-to-one or close to one-to-one um, copies of the real ones, and then a lot of other ones has this slightly imaginary part in it as well, to make, this is a game. It's a gamified uh, medium fidelity simulator. So uh, the checklists that you have are all based on the realistic procedures that yeah. I'm just loading up here. Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate that. So I promised you at the end of my Ask Me Anything session, now my nose is getting blocked here, but I promised you to uh, briefly load into a space shuttle mission. I'll just have it up in the background a little bit. Um, I can show you around if anyone is curious about the space shuttle in Reentry. And then after that, I'm going to end this stream. It's been a long session, but this questions has been steady, so I really appreciate that. Thanks a lot for asking questions, and please do. I I always try to be very transparent with this project and try to include the community whenever I can. So ask questions, give me feedback, give me comments, and I'll try to answer everything. Okay, and then the space shuttle is now. Let me just need to press some buttons in Unity to, make sure that um, things are built into the build I'm running into. So it can actually load. That will take a minute. Okay, and then I'll go and share my screen. So let me know when you see my game view here. I'm going to slightly tune it. Canada flag. You want to see the Canada flag? So could you could you plan to have access to ISS? So I'll show you the Canada flag, and yes, the plan is that the space shuttle will give you access to the ISS, and I've worked on a module where the ISS can act as your second spacecraft, so you can actually enter it and fly around a simple 3D flyby model. But it's fun to enter the cupola and see the tail of your docked space shuttle hanging down. So that's a gimmick in a way. It's not going to be a big thing, but so yeah. Let me just get through the. Okay, perfect. You can see. Um, Skylab interior, that would be great. I don't have any models of it. I can try to model a simple mock-up myself. Maybe someone in the community wants to contribute and help with the interior of Skylab. And if so, that would be amazing to see. But it's fully possible. I will not say no because I thought about it. I discussed it even with Paolo a couple of years back. He made the Skylab model for me, and that you can dock with right now in the Apollo program. I do have a in implementation of Vostok, but I don't know about the license and if it can be released or not because of licensing. But that's in the research now. I do have played the ISS VR sim, yes. Okay, so now we have the game loaded into kind of the academy, and right now you can see that these are currently the academy lessons. I think I've written everything except for the landing lesson. It might be that it has been written. I don't remember. It's been a while since I worked on the shuttle because my priorities has been on other parts, the 1.0 milestone. Yeah, volunteers for the interior of Skylab. Yeah, that's would be amazing to experience Skylab from the inside. It's such an interesting way of creating a station. Lesson 22 works. Okay, nice. Yeah, so I've made all of these lessons. They are based on the manuals, and that was one of the things that I was starting to say earlier before my brain kind of shut down in the middle of what I was saying. But the intent of Reentry and the way that I try to structure things is that I'm trying to secretly, in a way, introduce you to the real manuals. So in Mercury, you will not see a pad at all, and the flight manual is my own writing, 100% almost. And then in Gemini, there's a big combination. The flight manual is written by me, but I'm using things from the real manual in terms of text. And you'll see a pad, and the Gemini pad is the only pad that you'll have in Gemini, which is the catch-up maneuver pad. And that's something that I've added based on the Apollo program to kind of get you into that thought of using pads and kind of how they worked. Then in Apollo, you'll get more and more things that looks like they did look in the real life. So you have a better map view and you have a better checklist references, and the checklist looks much more similar to what you have printed, and so on. And same applies for the space shuttle. So all of these chapters has been written based on the various training materials that you have. Um, just reading up here. Yeah, invisible co-pilot to do something, for example, calculating TLI. Yeah, I don't know about AI and doing TLI calculations and so on. I'll need to learn more about it. Right now I'm trying to kind of not use AI, especially for graphics, music, and content and translations. There's been some suggestions about using AI to translate. Um, I'm not there yet, but I might be. I don't know. But at least for now, I'm trying to kind of use um, contributors and those willing to help over AI. But AI in terms of a training bot and a virtual co-pilot or a crew member would help, because one of the things that is an issue with Reentry is that I assume control. I give you control of the entire spacecraft. A spacecraft, for example, in the Apollo program that was operated by 2 or 3 astronauts, and in the space shuttle operated by 3, 4, and up to 7 persons on board. So you have a lot of work to do on board. Yeah, exactly. The transition from space to atmosphere is still going to be there, and I'm trying to improve ways of doing it. I have the space shuttle is running a bit later technology. I've written most of the things from scratch for the space shuttle, just as I've done for all of the other programs. So it has a slightly better technology to it, which gives me more flexibility in terms of scene setup. The big problem, especially for Apollo, is the entire lunar setup and the extremely complicated scene setup to make it possible. So yeah, let me just load into, for example, let's say GNC, and this is all work in progress. And I'm not going to follow a lesson. I'll just load in and have it on in the background. Yeah, early Gemini campaign. Well, it's great. Mercury is hard to learn. It has a lot of systems. It has a lot of new concepts, and then Gemini kind of builds on it and adds that computer and the complexity around that. So Gemini is even harder, and there's a big percentage of players kind of dropping out in the Gemini, um, somewhere in the Gemini program before reaching Apollo. There's only a few, if you look at the percentages on the achievements, that actually gets through the whole game. But early Gemini, welcome to Gemini. That's great that you made it to Gemini and didn't skip out after Mercury. Yeah, my computer is going rather slow. Oh yeah, I have an issue, so that's why it's not loading. So it might not work today's demo. Oh yeah, it's I know what it was. Give me a second. There we go. Now let's reload. Academy, Space Shuttle. Okay, now it's loading. So let me know when you once again see my screen. Yeah, face to face can be quite hard, but once you get it, you'll be everything will suddenly become easier. So just keep trying. And of course, in Discord, we can help you if you want. So I loaded into the DPS operations lesson. Just turn off these things. Let me take that away. Yeah. So any other questions? Please let me know. Yeah, there's some YouTube videos. I recommend you to go and watch. For example, Madison has a set of YouTube videos. There's a lot of content on YouTube. Some are old and some are new, but they're kind of still all rather relevant in terms of their concepts. So go and check it out and try to see if you can do the same and join the Discord and ask questions. We'll make sure that you'll get the help that you need. How to become a TP? Yeah, TPs are the TP program was has been quite silent in quite a lot of time until I onboarded a set of the shuttle class in a way, and because most of the bits I've been releasing has been directly to the alpha floor or the release branch. So but TP work comes in waves. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, especially close to 1.0, then there's slightly less because things are getting more and more into this small bug fixes and polishing kind of stage. But there is a form on Discord that you can follow, and it will submit the application. And the kind of requirement that I have is mostly about being an active Reentry player, knowing the mechanics of Reentry and how Reentry works. How do you play the game in Reentry, and then yeah, that's basically it. And then if we need test pilots, we'll go through the list and see if there's someone that could help with something specific, for example. I have not modeled the lower decks yet. It's a really low poly model. Let's see. But it's something that I want to add eventually. There's some panels that are grouped together in the same spot. They should go somewhere else if I ever get to a state where I have the lower decks modeled. Yeah. Anything else? It seems like we are now getting to the end of this session. So any last questions, feel free to share them. It must be lonely to be up in space, but also fun. I have now I'm running on the lowest graphic settings here because I've been working with VR stuff today. But I recommend you to go and watch the 2 state update videos. I have 2 demos about the space shuttle. So if you want to watch that, go ahead and do that and see kind of how it looks like. The first one is a couple of years old, and then the previous update was about a year ago. So, and I'm now in the process of compiling a new video for the for the beer I promised. Thank you very much. I didn't even know this was possible to get a beer on this chat. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, O2 Jumper One, and yeah, I hope you're doing well in your endeavors on our Discord. You've been a good candidate for figuring out things that I should polish in terms of the academy. I've received a lot of good feedback, and I've tried to fix a lot of those things. All right, no questions, just a big thank you. I appreciate that for my wife as well. I will, I will. Thank you very much. I'll need to figure out how the system works because how do I get the beer? All right, here it comes. Thank you. Appreciate it. I've yeah, this is the partner, the YouTube partner thing. That's amazing. Thank you. This means a lot. I really appreciate it. You're good. This is a good community, and I appreciate that all of you are here with me today. And it's been a lot of fun talking with you and have you kind of part of this session. And I hope to do more of these Ask Me Anything sessions going forward. And I'll set them up based on need. So if there's anything specific, let me know. But I'm always available on Discord and on the Steam forums and various places. So just uh, reach out to me. I want to be available for those who play my game. So yeah, I'm not used to getting donations on YouTube. That's a good way of saying that. I'm switching now back into my normal setup here. All right. Thanks again, everyone. I really appreciate your thanks, Guy Webb, for your donation as well. Uh, really appreciate it. And everyone else, um, as I mentioned in the initial video, please know that I've really appreciated you guys being part of this journey in one way or another. This game has been a lot of various chapters since the Discord was enabled and Facebook before that, Facebook groups and the game hub, and you have always been really important to how this project has been shaped. So if it wasn't for the involvement of the community and in your constructive feedback, then I wouldn't have been able to make the game the way it is today. So thanks. And thanks, Chris. Geo, I will make sure that that donation goes directly into Shuttle development. Okay, any last questions before I stop? I saw some activity now, so of course, if there's anything else, let me know. If not, reach out. Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you being here. Thanks, Astro, and thanks, Jim Finn. Shuttle down payment. Yes, the shuttle is going to be brutal, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I need to figure out how this donation system here works. The first donator was reminding me of this partner feeling. I'm a lone developer, but I'm not that lonely with you guys. So yeah, thanks again. Thanks for watching, and everyone, have a great evening, morning, afternoon, and night, wherever you are. And I'm going to go to sleep. All right. Full screen, closing down. Thanks again. Have a good night.